another language if I were, interested in learning another language. This is not the issue. I'm not saying that we should completely reject French as a language. What I'm saying is Creole should not be wiped out as a result of learning French. That's that's what I'm trying to say. I think it should be incorporated in the school system. Like the books in French, everything's in French in Haiti. That is important. So I think they should be in both. Now, there have been some progress, big. Now we have books and Creole. In fact, in some schools, it's required that they use, books and Creole. But before, that was not the case. So I don't have any problem with learning French or with learning in French. I have problem when I'm being forced to give up on my native language, to embrace a language that has been imposed on me, on my ancestors. That is the point. That's what I'm trying to argue. Maybe I did not articulate my argument clearly, but that's what I'm trying to say. Of course, I need to learn French so that I can speak back to power. In order to understand the colonizer, I have to speak their languages. But I'm not going to give up my own language to learn theirs.
That's so we really don't have to give up yours. Because my point is, let's say, for example, the education system is in French, correct? And I know that system, but the informal education that you get outside of the school is in Creole, correct? And it's up to you to define your own culture identity.
It's not up to me.
I'm going to have
It's only up to me because ideology is strong. Because that's what you've been taught all your life. French is a superior language to Creole. It's not up to me because I think Creole should be embraced in the classroom as well as French. So I don't think that it's yeah.
Sorry. It's not an issue of language. The language is part of prong of the ideology.
It's an apparatus. Yeah, it's an apparatus.
It's not standing by itself saying, I'm French, let me come in the door. And I come by myself. You come with a culture, you come with a point of view, and a point of view and a mindset and historical reality that allows you to be not knocking at that door, but coming in with a savor. And that's a very different thing. And the choice issue is critical. As an African American who had no choice about what was taken from me, I speak what I speak, but it's not because I chose to speak it. I can't choose to say, well, I had this and now I have this. I have no choice as to what was removed. I have to start from scratch and decide what I'm going to now acquire based on what was taken from me. And some people don't have the wherewithal to have a consciousness about there was something taken. They don't have to question it because it's all been removed. And that's different.
Let me add something to what you just said.
That's what
I don't want to cut you. Let me just add something. I don't want to forget. Your point is right on target because language is not only a way of communicating. It's not a means of expression. There's ideology in there. When you learn a language, you learn the culture. And the colonizer, they know that. Once they impose their own language on you, you're gonna, inevitably you're gonna learn their culture. And once you are immersed into the culture, there's gonna be a gap between yours and theirs. So that's the dream that they had. It wasn't only about language per se. It was more than that.
And the power dynamics that are built, because I think there's a difference when you have I'm sorry because I know you have.
Oh no. No.
But there's a difference when you have like that multiple identity or double identity, and there's a difference when you are taught that one is more powerful than the other, and the one is actually not only more powerful, but this one down here is bad, it's poor, it's ugly, it's so that's a difference as opposed to say, hopefully Pierre and I have kids, and they're like, oh, I'm Venezuelan and Haitian, like that double identity, and hopefully they speak Spanish and Creole, and even French, who knows. So that's a different story as opposed to being like, oh, this is ugly and dirty and shameful. This one is what you should embrace. I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Sir?
Yeah, Professor.
Well, everything was said. I mean, I do think that notion of that language culture, that the politics that's embedded in language is so powerful, and Cerny's right, because the language comes with this package of things. And I know there's a lot of people, linguists who would argue that, language is, but I mean, that speaks to, as someone who is, I was born abroad, and I wasn't born in the States, and my family is one that was literally lived in refugee camps and everything, and where language has always been a source, number one, of survival, but also one of resistance. You know, my grandfather. I mean, I grew up in Tel Aviv, and my grandfather, who was Ethiopian, became a Hebrew teacher. But he instilled in us this notion of Aramaic that we had to learn. I mean, that was a form of resistance, despite, you know, and through that learning of that language became a source of, you know, culture and politics. I mean, in a variety of different ways. But yeah, but I'm just thinking about the language and colonization, because I mean, you know, it's really powerful, just really, really powerful.
What I find, go ahead.
Well, this is a story that I tell often because it just, to me, I'm amazed that it started so early and was so deliberate. When I was in school, I grew up in New York, and when you were in the 4th grade, you had to pick a language that you were going to take going into the next level of school. And you had 3 choices. If you chose French, you were tracked into the higher classes, the smart classes.
I heard that
If you chose Spanish, you were tracked into the dumb classes. Now, you're sitting there and you don't know this, and then you find out because the second number in your class, if it's 5, 1, 5, 2, the higher the number, the dumber the class. And so you're wondering, you know, why the classes look the way they do. They begin changing color, they begin, you know, class structures are different. But to be told in the 4th grade that because you're picking French, that's what I mean by all those issues being embodied in choices.
Yeah.
You're being told that the French culture and the language are the choices to make.
That's right.
And that happens in the 4th grade.
Wow.
And we're not even in France. And
In
we're
the
not
United
even in a
States.
so-called French colonized country. We're in the
So
US.
there's a clear association between language and power. So it's not only language. Who speaks that language? Okay, whose country? I mean, that's what we need to understand. Now, for example, people who speak Spanish in the US tend to be looked down upon, because as soon as you open your mouth, you start speaking Spanish. They put in a little box. You must be poor, dirty immigrant from Mexico or from, except if you speak it with, you know, an accent from Spain, then you may have a chance. But if you speak it with an accent from, you know, Venezuela or Guatemala or El Salvador or Mexico, automatically they put in a little box. You see, so you see the connection between language and power. And it's the same thing that I had in Haiti. Like when I was growing up, if someone was able to speak French fluently, they look at you differently. You might be the poorest Haitian, but if you are able to speak French, they would just assume that you're from the upper class. Because who gets to speak French fluent in Haiti are those who have money, for the most part. Or someone like myself who try hard to learn it, you know, on my own, of course, in school. So there's always a correlation between language and power. So we need to make that clear.
I was going to say, I think this talk is very interesting, and it just shows me how everything is happening with wherever Black people are. It just shows me how much we are all the same. Because even in the U.S., we have this whole thing of what some people may call broken English and standard English, and
right.
what sounds better and what is seen as superior and what is seen as, oh, you speak well because you can speak the language
Standards,
of,
so-called
right,
standards, yeah.
you know, because you can speak the language of those
You're
who
articulate.
colonize this, you know, and
You're so
when you
articulate.
come from an area where it is seen as inner city or a ghetto, or where you did not have access to education, your language, how you speak, everything is very different.
That's right.
And your opinion is invalidated. Everything and anything about you is invalidated.
Right.
And you don't have the power and you don't have the agency also to represent yourself. So I think that's very interesting how we're talking about issues in Haiti. But I know this because issues in Haiti, issues in Jamaica, the Caribbean, I mean, wherever there are people of African descent dispersed, this is a problem that we have to deal with. And it's about us, I don't even know how to, at this point, because it's so,
Yeah, you
I
said
don't
it
know.
quite well.
It's
just
good.
That, you know, this topic is just,
Yeah.
it's amazing how it's just everywhere. Everywhere.
Right. It is everywhere. It's
Language
happening
is
here.
so important, and I feel like it says it helps in molding your identity because you have to choose once the way you speak, it creates your identity in many ways, because you have to
confidence in that identity because of how you speak. So if I speak this way, I have to know that, okay, this comes with a certain way of people looking at me. This comes with a certain lifestyle. This comes with a certain set of politics that I have to now deal with, which is very different from, you know, someone who's already in the privileged class and has the dominant say in how boundaries are set and who's allowed within certain boundaries and who's able to, you know, change those boundaries by their standards.
The issue that I just brought up are being addressed by their books and one of her books, Teaching to Transgress. You know, she could switch from the so-called bonies, whatever. Correct me if I'm wrong, and to the from Iwonik to the so-called standard English. So she could do that. Well, how many of people like her who are able to do that? No, maybe not too many.
Right.
So she has that cultural capital. Yes.
You can do it if you've been given the wherewithal. But
Exactly.
What was that again? Certainly I didn't.
Yeah, can you say that
You
again?
can do it if you've been given the wherewithal. But in order for you to be able to switch between any language,
Right.
you have got to have been given the access.
That's right.
Access, exactly.
It's an example. Black Brazilians. Okay.
See.
In a meeting in Geneva, where it was a global UN meeting, and it was a huge delegation for the first time ever of Afro-Brazilians, and they were trying to get their message out. The problem is that Portuguese is not one of the languages of the UN, so it's not uniformly translated in UN sessions. And it is a language that, although it may be the sixth widest spoken language, the populations are in certain places, and most people don't speak the language. So the Afro-Brazilians were like, we are mute on the world stage. Their issue was not that they spoke Portuguese. Their issue was that the educational system there didn't teach them anything else.
That's right.
And that
That's
once
right.
they left Brazil,
That's right.
they were incapable of having a dialogue
That's
on
right.
the issues most important
That's right.
in a world global forum. And that's the issue. It's
It's a matter of access.
It's being able to have a choice. It's being able to preserve your own at the same time. All of those come into play. And they're
That's
all-
right. That's right. That's exactly what I mean when I said there. How many people, like fellows who are able to do it? When I say able to do it, they haven't been given a chance to develop what they call standard English. You know, and why would they be forced to do that? It's because of the way, the system is set up. You see, so if you don't have, if you're not able to articulate the way they do, then you're not gonna have a chance. It shouldn't have to be that way.
Exactly.
You said
Yeah.
you said something in the beginning before. I mean, of this talk with language that really just sparked something in me. Just this question of being able to revolt or rebel. You know, of learning, having this other language, and I feel like that's what Ebonics is in a sense. It's like
It's a form of resistance.
it is because there's conversations I can have with my cousin, per se, in New York. A lot of people will not understand because of the terms that we use.
Right.
You know, although some people may, certain people may not be able to like really be able to understand what he says. But see, and I felt, and having that access to both has allowed me to be able to code switch, as Bell Hooks as said, like, because I went to a boarding school where, you know what, I was made fun of because I was like, where you at? Meaning, where are you going? And so when I had that happen to me, that forced me to really have this understanding, you know, okay, you gotta be able to code switch. You know, it forced me.
Absolutely.
And so like, but it made me still have, be able to have that, that like Ebonics in a sense, and still there, but I had to know where and when to use it.
Exactly. I have a story that I can tell you. It's quite related to what you just said. I was in Guatemala about 4 years ago, and I met two folks from France, and of course they didn't speak Spanish, so they could only express themselves in their language. And I didn't tell them that I speak French, so I chose not to. I wanted to see how they would deal with the local folks. Because it seems to me, if you're going to go to a country, you should at least learn the
Learn something,
basics.
yeah.
Because you're traveling throughout Guatemala. if you're gonna be there for 6 months, you're gonna be there for 6 months. At least you should take some courses. That would be my argument.
Right.
So I chose to speak French with them. I pretended I didn't speak French. Finally, I said to myself, I gotta be human. I'm gonna, try to help them because I was able to speak Spanish. So, I decided to help them. But I'm so glad that I did not give up my Creole. And I'm glad that I was able to speak their language. This is why I'm not against Haitian people. I'm not against learning French. I think all Haitians should learn French. The problem that I have with the issue that I have with the colonizers, with the agenda, is when they force you to learn their language at the expense of your own. That's my issue. So I was happy to be able to speak with them in their own language, but at the same time, I was happy that I was able to speak Creole. Because there are Haitians who do not speak Creole. So they are being forced to speak only French. I know a Haitian woman, she's Haitian, 100% Haitian, she doesn't speak Creole. And when I met her, I thought I was gonna speak Creole, speak Creole, and she couldn't speak Creole. I was wondering why. At first I didn't know, she didn't tell me her story, so I started, I didn't want to judge her. I said, you said you're Haitian, you didn't speak Creole, what happened?
That's a valid
But that's one of the
question.
requirements.
I've never heard of such. No.
That's one of the requirements. I mean, if you said you're Haitian, you don't speak Creole, you need to tell me why. You need to tell me why you're learning. I mean, I'm not going to judge people who don't speak Creole, because there are a lot of Haitians who were born here who don't speak Creole, and I understand that. But I wanted to know her story. So she told me that she grew up in a family where French was spoken. I said, I can see why I didn't learn Creole. And it was very frustrating for me, because I wanted to speak Creole with her, because she's Haitian. But at the same time, I understand why she didn't learn it, because her parents didn't think that Creole was a language. That's what I'm talking about. So they did not teach her Creole. They only taught her French. I think that was a mistake. They should have taught her both languages.
Right.
That's the issue that I have with many Haitians who are from privileged background. They do not teach their children Creole, because Creole is not a language. And that's the legacy of colonialism. That's what they've been taught all their lives. And that's what I'm trying to resist. Anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice seeing you. I met you about 2 years ago. Yeah, I met you at your...
Yeah, I know, I bet. I think it was that long ago.
Yeah.
I wrote all my books and stuff.
I definitely gotta do it.
Well, I've been reading about it.
Oh, okay. I suspected that.
I think that I know what they're doing there is what you get there. I'm not saying it's here. But I don't think I
So I used to make
I look for people
And that was
I just make sure you're right, but I don't think that exists.
you will pay.
I remember it was a couple of you mentioned, right?
I said, okay. I said, when the U.S. wanted to invade Iraq, they tried to convince people here that we have been there in years. So that was and it was in the same thing. This is why I
Yeah, I just wanted to add it in.
No, really?
when I read this, like, when I learned the system hasn't been going through it again. Because of this, silence, people haven't been able to stay in school and learn. We have a lot of children who been displaced from Iraq to neighboring countries. So there's a lot of young people who had to leave Iraq.
Yes, you are.
Continue learning when they keep to others. So that's one of the things that one of the things but I don't want to make it that I know what's going on there because I've never been to Iraq. I'm not from there, so yeah. So I don't want to make anything that's not grounded on anything.
Thanks for coming. Yeah. That's a lot, yeah.
Thank you.
Le singe est dans la chambre. Non. Le singe n'est pas dans la chambre. Michel est dans la chambre. Avec le président de Burundi. In the end, the only way I could get that line into a conversation was I had to go to France with a cat, a mouse, a monkey, a table and chair. And wander around heavily wooded areas. Someone's coming, quick. Positions, les positions, maintenant. Boulot, tout de suite. Vas-y. Bonjour. Hey, bonjour. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Bonjour, je suis anglais, je suis ici en vacances. C'est très belle ici, les couleurs, les bois. Ah, très belle. Hein? Tu es un travesti? Oui, je suis un travesti, mais pas un travesti typical. Je suis un travesti exécutif. Un travesti d'action. Très bien. Mais la souris est en dessous de la table. Le chat est sur la chaise. Et le singe Le singe est disparu. Because the monkey would fuck off. He'd go and do his own thing. He was a bloody monkey. He was a cheeky monkey. And he knew my French wasn't very good, so he'd go off and do things. Ah, le singe est là-bas maintenant. Regarde, il est sur une bicyclette. Il joue au banjo. Et fume une pipe. Maintenant, il arrête, il lit un journal. Ah oui, ici. Et maintenant, il est dans l'autobus. Il conduit l'autobus. Et Sandra Bullock est dans l'autobus. Il y a une bombe dans l'autobus. Il faut conduire l'autobus plus de 50 km par l'heure. Et Keanu Reeves, là, il arrive dans la voiture. Il n'a pas de cheveux. Et Jeff Daniels est déjà mort. Et regarde, il essaie à se jeter dans l'autobus. Et Dennis Hopper, quelle méchante. That was the film Speed in French, which in France was called La Vitesse. Or at least it should have been, but in fact it was called Speed. Yeah. So, in conclusion, ladies and jelly spoons, America, you have the American dream. You have the American dream. We haven't got the European dream yet. That's what we've got to get. We've got to get a dream to build on. You have the American dream. The dream is to be born in the gutter and raised and grow up and get all the money in the world and stick it in your ears and go. American dream. A fantastic dream of money in your ears and swing through fire. The American dream. In Europe, I don't know, we haven't got a dream yet. The dream was, to flag, no. Hilda, wake up, Hilda. What is it, Dr. Heimlich, you waking up type person? I've dreamed the European dream. I dreamt that every country in Europe spoke a different language and they hated each other. Oh, that's true, isn't it? Yes. That was the dream. But now, maybe now, the dream is to be in the south of Europe, to be in Greece, in Italy, in Spain, and to be on a moped with no helmet on, riding along going, ciao. That's a pretty cool dream. It's not much of a dream, but it's as good as we got so far. And it's pretty funky, because when you die, you look a mess. But, I don't know. I just like it. Because you're on a fucking hairdryer, for God. There's dogs walking faster than you. It's just pretty damn cool for me. That's the European dream. Thank you very much. Good night.
Writer, right?
Yeah.
You know, I write my own lyrics and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You want to help me out with it?
Never written rap.
That's all right.
Stuff, but...
I'm gonna see what you got.
Okay, go ahead.
See what you got, all right? Check this shit out. I'll stomp on your world as if my name was Godzilla. I'm coming for you, motherfucker. I'm your crazy eyes killer. You know? And I'm gonna be like this in the video, like.
I got one tiny little comment.
What?
I would change the motherfucker to bitch. Yes, because bitch is a word that you would use to somebody who you disrespect, right? Isn't that so?
You my dog. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's right, play. That's right. Yeah, I like you.
Hey, I'm Bill Maher. There's no reason that you, with your busy life, should have to keep track of my schedule. Okay, so the new season of Real Time starts on January 16th and goes to March 19th, at which point we'll know who the Democratic presidential nominee is, and I can take some time off to tend to my favorite charity, Showgirls Without Fathers. And then it's time for...
Esta franja de terreno neutral era escenario de violentas incursiones de paramilitares serbios contra las poblaciones kosovares. También la llamaban zona de